A second-hand pair of jeans, a rumpled sweater, even old boxer shorts. They don't sound like the sort of thing that would command top dollar on the auction block, but that depends, Lee Cowan tells us, on who once wore them.
15,000 people pay from $3 to $1,000 to honor Mr. Kennedy.
It was 1962, a celebration of John F. Kennedy's 45th birthday.
This lovely lady, Marilyn Monroe.
But for one breathless moment, it looked like Marilyn Monroe had shown up to the party naked.
Happy birthday to you.
That dress caused a stir then and again nearly 63 years later, when it sold at auction for $4.8 million, a world record. It was put up by the same auction house that also sold Michael Jackson's sequin glove, Olivia Newton-John's greaser jacket.
Tell me about it, Stud.
Even this box containing Truman Capote's ashes.
Items that we've sold 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that comes back to the auction, sells for multiple times of what we sold it for way back then.
Martin Nolan and Darren Julian.
This is Mariah Carey's.
Are the heart and fanboy souls of Julian's auctions.
UK telephone booth owned by Ringo Starr.
Which has been making quite a name for itself in the celebrity memorabilia space of late.
I'll take one of the guitars.
The two of them couldn't be more different.
That's cool.
Really cool.
Martin is from rural Ireland, Darren is from rural Indiana. But 20 years ago, they saw a potential market that few others did.
So these are Marilyn Monroe's jeans from River of
Martin and Darren, along with their staff, like Director of Appraisals Laura Woolley, have proven that there's value in what other auction houses sometimes overlook.
They're actually JCPenney's, which is kind of fun.
Oh my gosh.
Sure, Marilyn Monroe's jeans will likely go for tens of thousands of dollars, but what about her personal eyeshadow? Or Elvis Presley's gas card? Or a simple plaque from Judy Garland's dressing room? Each of those sold for less than $11,000. Now that's not cheap, but it's not the price of fine art either, said one collector.
He had said that it's a lot sexier to have John Lennon's guitar on the wall than a Picasso.
Mind you, he did have Picasso's
yeah,
as well.
He did.
But he was buying his youth.
Julian's real innovation was the idea that if a celebrity was big enough, they didn't need to be pushing up daisies to be pushing items up for auction.
Well, and I remember Cher, when we were trying to talk her into an auction, she goes, "But guys, I'm not dead yet."
Julian's has auctioned off hundreds of Cher's belongings.
It had to be you.
While that Bob Mackie dress she wore on the Sonny and Cher show went for more than $100,000, Julian's also sold this, her armadillo lamp. As unfortunate looking as it is, Cher revealed it was actually given to her by Kiss bassist Gene Simmons.
No wonder that relationship didn't last, but it took it from probably $20, $50 piece to a $6,000 armadillo lamp because it's got a great story.
You know, you go into a Sotheby's, you go into a Christie's auction, it's like, oh, the finest jewelry are here being sold, right? And Julian's like, I like to think that we're a little bit more of a rock and roll auction house, for sure.
We're gonna sell it at $27,500.
Cody Frederick, Julian's auctioneer,
sold at $27,000.
We'll never forget when this lot came up. A Rolling Stones-themed toilet seat cover.
You know, with the red tongue,
Turns out it belonged to Bill Wyman, the former bass player for the actual Rolling Stones. It sold for more than $1,000.
And I'm just like, is that a world record on toilet seat covers? It's gotta be.
Julian's 50,000 square foot warehouse in Los Angeles is full of both the ridiculous and the rare.
This is Princess Diana's hats. These are her shoes. These are her handbags.
From Princess Diana's outerwear.
How do we make this dignified?
To John F. Kennedy's underwear.
You know a lot about a piece going in. The one thing you don't know is how much emotional value other people place on that piece until you get into that auction room.
It's even at a weird slant in the film.
Collector Dan Lanigan has spent 30 years buying up movie props. Stuff that studios would often just throw away.
Maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, some of the stuff you could have gotten for next to nothing, right?
Yeah.
And why? What changed?
The understanding that people can get this stuff. Julian's found this piece.
That's John Belushi's hat from the Blues Brothers movie.
Which is one of those films that ever since I was a kid, I adored.
How much for the little girl?
He bought it for more than $28,000. Not the most he spent, not by any means. Blade Runner is one of his favorite movies.
Deckard's blaster? No way.
That gun is a holy grail for Blade Runner fans.
Paid through the nose for it, paid as much as I paid for pretty much anything.
But choose wisely.
Speaking of holy grails, Dan actually has one. The grail used in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
That's the cup of a carpenter.
That's the cup of a carpenter.
That's right, that's the cup of a carpenter.
Oh, man.
When I bring someone like yourself and show my collection, like, oh, is that from that? Or is that from that? Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I've had people cry when they see a piece from their favorite film.
Really? Will you ever have enough, you think?
Oh, I have too much.
I
have enough. I have too much, yeah.
He won't say how much his collection is worth. We can't even tell you where he stores it all.
So the costume was actually worn by Arnold.
The props are all prisoners to his passion. Something only fellow collectors, he says, understand.
The connections really matter to people.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Is that a Banksy?
And this is a Banksy, yes. This is
Back at Julian's, more items were coming in and going out, each with a story, each with a past. And there were plenty that Martin wasn't quite ready to reveal.
But you can't tell me whose it is.
I cannot tell you, but if you watch this space, check Julian very often.
Terry, this is the closest I will ever get to John F. Kennedy. My mother would be so proud.
This past Thursday, JFK's white boxers became a red-hot item.
Sold $7,000 paddle number.
That's $3,500 a leg. Not bad for something that could have gotten lost in the laundry.